on that last week.
I'm sorry.
Sure.
Sorry about that, Joe. You guys all good? Or?
Yeah.
Just two quick things for you guys. Obviously, we traded for Stephon Gilmore, and we're really excited to have a chance to have a player of his caliber, tremendous professional, all-pro caliber player, and we're going to need everybody as we head down the stretch of this season. So excited to welcome him to the team. As you guys know, he can't play for 2 weeks, and looking forward to having him when we face the Giants in 2 weeks. And then Christian was limited today. I don't know what that means in terms of where he'll be on Sunday. It'll probably be something that goes up until game time. We'll make the best decision for him and for the team as we move forward. So I won't have much beyond that with regard to Christian, but he did have a good day today. So with that, I'll see what questions you guys have, Joe.
I was just to say, you last week made a point to kind of characterize the C.J. Henderson move as more down the line. This one feels a little different. Could you kind of expand on that?
Yeah, I think anytime you can get an all-pro player for a future six, I mean, we're going to do it, right? I mean, we played the last game, half the time we're in dime, chin's dropping down, So I just think, for us, we really like CJ. I think he's going to be a really good player. We really like AJ. We really like Dante. But we're, if we have to play with 3 or 4 corners every snap as we face some of these teams we're going to. So, I just think as many good players as we can bring around here and tremendous professionals, we're going to do it. And this was just, one of those things that's too good to pass up. I mean, he's too good of a player. He's from here. And I think when you find out about who he is football character-wise as well, I mean, it just adds to the core of what we are. So we have a great group of guys on defense, so I think it just adds to that. So I would nothing more even than other just like, hey, it's a good opportunity for us to get a great player.
How would you envision? You still have a long way to go. I totally understand it. But in the ideal world, how would you envision him fitting in with what you already have?
I'll be quite honest with you. Like every week, I come in on Monday, and there's, we have changes to the, injury report and roster and all those things. So by the time we get there, the vision could be complete. I just think it's a chance to get a great player. And AJ's a guy that can play inside and outside. CJ can play inside and outside. Dante, is just following guys all over the field. So I think just Stephon would just be one more guy like that. And so, how exactly it works out when we get there, I think there's a lot of factors, over the next 2 weeks. We're really focused on Philadelphia. My whole thought is on this game plan, But that being said, I think we've lived in a world where as many guys covering as possible. And I thought last game, we played, Rashawn played well, Keith played well, and we had a lot of guys out there playing. So this is just one more guy that can help us.
Man, how using what you guys have done at cornerback from JC all the way through what you did last week with Henderson and now making this trade show the importance of having a potential shutdown corner to what you want to do defensively?
Yeah, it just allows us to put more guys in the box and go be aggressive. We try to have positionless players like Chin to me, Son Reddick, Brian Burns. Those guys have kind of, Morgan Fox. Those guys have been positionless players that can, we have packages last game where we play with 5 D linemen and 1 linebacker. We saw us last year in 3 D linemen. So, we want to give different looks to the defense and also take advantage of the guys that we have. So I think the positionless player is important. But at the end of the day, for us to win, you have to be able to play man and get off the field on 3rd down. And so as many guys as we have that can cover, we'll take them.
How was this move made in reaction to anything you saw that happened in the game? Or
No.
Or is it more just about the player?
No. He's an all-pro player. And, again, it was just a chance to get someone like that. I mean, I've always kind of operated under the premise of let's get as many good players, even if they're at the same position. I mean, things have a way of working out where you can, like I said, I think Phil's really creative. He'll find a way to get them on the field and play them. So as many good players as possible, and we'll work backwards from there.
Is this a strong message that you guys send to the locker room, and were guys kind of stopping you on the way out to practice today and excited about the move?
I made sure I talked to a couple guys, like, hey, because literally I was walking out and Scott was saying, hey, do you want to talk to Stephon? So, it was like really a fast thing that happened. I think it's like anything. It's like, I think guys are always excited to add good players. But at the same time, everyone's focused on their job. And so, and we have, we have, we're coming off of of a loss and getting ready to go play a really good Eagles team. So I think all of our focus is on, really be honest, is on Jalen Hurts. So I mean, there's guys obviously that that were excited to hear that we made that move, but at the same time, I think everyone's just focused on themselves and their job and this week.
Matt, was Dante one of those guys you talked to, and what does it say with Stephon and Dante going into contract years about kind of the future of the position and how you guys view it?
Come on, Scott. I'm not going to just say I talked to this guy or that guy just because, I don't want to keep those conversations private. Dante Jackson, nothing we do with any other player affects Dante Jackson. Okay, Dante Jackson's an outstanding player, captain, leader, the ultimate brand guy on this team. And I personally, you make moves in season for the season to win games. Everyone's contracts and all those things. We're going to try. I think we're going to try to be an operation that does things at the end of this, after the season. If we start something in the offseason that carries into the season a little bit, that's fine. But, we want everyone's focus on this season. And so, but nothing that we do, whether it was CJ or this, impacts Dante Jackson. He's his own separate entity, and he's someone that is a high priority for me to coach as well as I can right now and help him be as successful as possible. And I think he's playing great. I think Dante Jackson's playing great football right now. He's one of our best players.
How much does this move help guys like JC and some of those other young corners like CJ, Stanley, and just their development, to be able to learn from those guys?
I hope it's positive. I mean, when you're a corner on this team right now, Rashawn Melvin, AJ Boye, two elite professional veteran players. Now you add another one in, Stephon Gilmore, Dante Jackson's a captain. That's a really strong, healthy room and healthy secondary. And you're going to look up at some point here, and we're going to have Miles Hartsfield back. We're going to have Justin Burris back. We're going to have Shaq Thompson back. So, but again, we don't have those guys this week. So, I'm happy to answer all these questions. But my focus really is on the Eagles, right, and trying to get this team to play our best this week. So, as many good players and guys who love football and know what it means to be a pro around here as possible, the better we'll be for all the young players.
Matt, you said Shaq won't be playing this week. Do you know how long he might be out?
I think there's a chance for Shaq next week. I think we're thinking it's like at least 2 weeks, so outside chance for next week. And then if not, I think obviously we didn't put him in IR, so we're hopeful that it would be the following week.
How do you expect to cover his absence, or what do you expect to step up?
We'll use a committee approach. I'm not going to get too much into scheme, but we have lots of guys that have practiced with us that we know the system and know what we're doing, and Jermaine Carter and some of the one linebacker defenses that we're playing, he'll take on a greater role. So he did that last game, right? So he was going in and playing alongside Chin and the dime. So we'll just continue to play Jermaine, but then we'll also have some other guys up. We activated Kamal Martin, which was important.
You were talking about Jalen Hurts just a moment ago. What are your impressions of him and how he's come along so far in his second year?
I mean, you watch this last game, 30 points scored. I forget, like 434. I think it's 434 yards of total offense. I think he's third in the league right now in yards per carry at 6.6. He's their leading rusher. He's throwing deep balls at a rate more than anyone else. I think he's been really explosive. So I think Jalen can affect you with his arm. He can also affect you with his ability to escape the pocket and run, design quarterback runs, and then all the RPOs that they do. So it's a real challenge, to be quite honest. A lot of the stuff we did last year that people would say, that's a college defense. That's perfect defense for this offense. So we've experienced a lot of life like this, and I think Coach Sirianni and Shane are doing a great job offensively up there. And they scored a lot of points. They were right in it, with Kansas City. And so I think Jalen, I've had a chance to coach against Jalen in college. He's an excellent player, tremendous competitor. He's a leader. He's tough. He's doing a great job for Philadelphia.
Cameron Irvin, he missed practice today. Do you expect him to be ready Sunday?
Just missed practice today. I'll have to take it day by day. I'm not sure where that'll be. Trenton or Brady would step into the lineup, and we put the pads on today in practice so that we could see guys. Some of those other linebackers and some of those tackles. We really competed today. To make sure that we're ready to go this week, and then B, give a chance to get an eyes on some people.
Is this a situation what you drafted Brady for, though, potentially, man?
Yeah, I mean, we drafted. It's like I told Chuba at halftime. We drafted you to play, man. And Trent played a lot of good football for us last year. I have a lot of confidence in him. Had that shoulder surgery, and I feel like watching him practice, he's feeling good now. But yeah, we drafted Brady to play, and so you got to go do it. And so if this is a week for him and Trent, we'll if it's a committee, it's a committee. If it's both of them, it's both of them.
Do you understand why we were asking? Not just because Gilmore's such a great player and everything besides that, but for all of us who've been here for a long time, for 15 years, if you made more than $2 million, you weren't traded for or you weren't signed as a free agent with the Panthers. Everything wasn't that way. You and Fitterer and now Mr. Tepper come in, completely changed the dynamic of that, of being aggressive. And was that something that you and Fitterer and Tepper talked about, like when you three got together, saying, hey, we want to be aggressive in the market and free agencies and trades?
I'd say I want to make sure I answer. I don't know that we talked about it. I just think this is the only, this is the way Scott's wired, and this is the only way I know, right? Like I don't want to sit around and wait to win. I also don't want to do things that jeopardize the future. I don't want to take shortcuts. So I always look at everything as when it's involving draft picks, draft capital versus the player. And so we have a good team right now, and we're trying to become a really good team. We try to become a great team, and that's both with the way we practice and prepare, and then making sure we, again, bring as many good players in as possible. So that's the level. That's the level of aggressiveness. I can't speak to how it was before. All I know is, when there's opportunities for trades, we look at. If we make one trade, I can promise you, I got phone calls about 10 other ones from Scott. Hey, what about this? What about this? So he's constantly working, and Pat and Dan are constantly working, and Samir are constantly working. And yeah, that's all I really know is that like whether it's trading back in the draft or drafting all defense the year before, like at the end of the day, like I'm just for me, and I know for Scott, we're just doing whatever we think is best in each situation, and hopefully it works out. They're not all going to work out. Not every move's going to work out, but I think when a guy like Stephon Gilmore, that level of player and that level of person, you feel really good that it'll work out in the best for everybody.
I think at some point, maybe a few weeks back or even before the season, you said Taylor would be the backup left tackle. So, if Cam doesn't play with Taylor, go over to left tackle, or would you just keep him in right now?
It's possible. It's always possible. But he's got a lot of sets at right tackle. So. I think part of it's seeing how Cam works out, and then just Brady's been practicing at left tackle, Trent's been practicing at left tackle. So I think anything's possible, but it's kind of a quick turnaround, real quick to get out to a Wednesday practice. So.
Is the situation with Christian, is it more of a field thing? What are you looking for in terms of whether or not you feel comfortable using him this week?
I think it's just a process, right? It's, hey, I ran. Hey, we do all kinds of testing. Then it's, hey, I practiced. Hey, I recovered. Then I practiced the next day more. Then we take it all the way up until the game. Like as long as nothing, as long as nothing reacts poorly, and as long as he feels like he can go full speed, I'm not going to put him out there or anybody out there if they're going at 95%. So we're just kind of it's like a protocol. You check each box along the way. So today, he got through Wednesday practice. He was limited. We see how he responds. Come out tomorrow. I'm sure he'll be limited tomorrow. But you put 2 good days, and Friday goes out there and take it all the way up to Sunday. And I think when you get to Sunday, if he's responded well and he feels good, then we play him. And if he's not there, then we don't. So it's hard to guess along the way.
Would using him in a limited capacity be something you're open to, or is it more you're not going to play him unless you can use him to his full capacity?
As long as he can go full speed, I would use him. Yeah, if it's less plays, more plays, all those different things. I think we had guys on pitch counts last week coming off of injuries and stuff like that. So we do that all the time with guys. So, and I'm really comfortable right now with Chuba and Royce and Rodney as well. So, I think we would, but again, it's hard for me to predict the future and where he'll be. I've done this before with you guys, and I come in the next day and I'm like, hey, we had it. So I just think with any of these guys when they're injured, I'm just trying my best. Like, hey, as of today, this is what I know. So.
Was limited for him today mostly individual?
I probably wouldn't get too much into how much he did, just schematically, but we'll see how he ends up.
And then curious, how did Shaq get hurt? Of course, we saw him finish the game, and was it potentially turf related?
I don't know that. I think he's had this injury once before. I don't know if it's the other foot or not. Shaq's tough, man. He finished the game. I think if it was up to him, he'd be playing this week. I don't know that. I think he strained the plantar in his foot. So I don't know that answer, to be honest with you. I hadn't asked that question.
Last week, you guys
Last
used
one.
DJ a little bit in the backfield. Obviously not in the same capacity as Curtis did a year ago, but could you see him kind of doing similar stuff as Curtis did last year?
Yeah, DJ could play tailback. I mean, he's like I said if DJ was born like when I was born, he'd be an I formation tailback, and I say that with the greatest of compliments to him. I mean, he's got balance and power. I mean, I'm like a don't run out of bounds type of guy. And sometimes I'm like, hey, run out of bounds, man. Get out of bounds. Like, there's no more yards to get. He loves to try to jump over people, run people over, cut back. I mean, he's got that physical skill set. So, just like, we handed the ball off to Tommy Tremble 2 weeks ago. I mean, we try to be positionless on defense. I think we're evolving like Curtis was last year, and Tommy's starting to do a little bit of trying to be positionless on offense in some ways. And so, when Christian's out there, he can play wide out and play tailback. DJ, I think, is a guy who can do both as well.